Stop checking the box. 5 bedroom mistakes that kill her mood, men's sexual health. You know that feeling. Everything is perfect. She's moaning, breathing heavily. The rhythm is amazing. You feel like both of you are about to become one. And then, boom. You make a move you think is natural, but the energy drops instantly. She goes silent. Her body tenses up. The connection vanishes. I know what you're thinking. What did I do wrong again? But hear this truth. Most men don't intentionally do wrong. You're not selfish. You're not inconsiderate. The only problem is you've never been given the roadmap to how a woman's body actually works. You're driving in the dark. I've heard thousands of stories behind closed doors, things women complain about but never dare tell you directly. Today, I'm going to give you that roadmap so you can take control of the game and avoid the 5 most common mistakes. Mistake number 1, the checking the box mentality and rushing penetration. Let's be honest with each other. How many times have you treated foreplay as just an administrative procedure? A chore you have to complete quickly to get to the main course? Many men confess to me that they find foreplay tedious, and they only do it because they think women demand it. You try to do it quickly, superficially, eyes glancing at the clock, just hoping to get to the penetration part. But do you know what happens when you rush like that? Biologically, a woman's body is completely different. If men are like a light switch, flip it and it lights up instantly, then women are like an iron. They need time to heat up gradually. When you skip this warming up phase to go inside immediately, her body will enter a shutdown state. Muscles contract, natural lubrication hasn't appeared yet. At this point, what you think is intimacy actually brings her feelings of pain, discomfort, even fear. And worse, when she's in pain, she loses connection. Emotions plummet without breaks. You'll see her lying still, enduring, and lovemaking becomes a heavy burden for both. You lose the passion you crave. So what's the solution? Change your mindset. Foreplay is not a chore. Foreplay is when you take control. Instead of rushing, apply the temperature control tactic. Imagine you're boiling a pot of water. You want to keep it simmering, not boiling over too soon. Touch her very slowly. Tease her. Kiss gently on her shoulder, on her neck. Whisper in her ear. Your goal is not to get it done, but to activate her desire. Be patient until you see her breathing intensify, her body arching, and she herself reaches out to pull you closer. When she actively wants you, that's when you've won. You're no longer the servant. You're the one leading the game. I know at this point many guys will wonder, you tell me to do foreplay for 15, 20 minutes, but what if little guy can't wait? What if during foreplay he falls asleep? This is a real pressure, especially for guys who are older or experiencing some issues with maintaining stamina. The pressure to keep an erection hard throughout the foreplay period makes you tense, and that very tension makes it even easier to cause the mind says yes, but body says no situation. Here's a secret few people tell you. You don't need to be hard right from the start. I call this the soft start technique. In the first 10 to 15 minutes, let your little guy rest completely. Don't worry about it. Use your hands, use your mouth, use your breath and chest to awaken her. This has 2 huge benefits. Reduces pressure on you. You don't need to strain to maintain continuous hardness. You're completely relaxed. Increases natural pleasure. When you're relaxed and focused on her, she'll get aroused faster. And when she's ready, the stimulation back from her will help your little guy wake up naturally and most powerfully. Remember, you don't need to be 100% ready when the whistle blows. Save that energy for the main event. Mistake. Number 2, attacking the forbidden zone too soon, targeting the zone too soon. The next mistake, and also the most common, the cut to the chase mentality. Many men right at the beginning put their hand directly on the woman's sacred triangle zone. You think that's the pleasure center, the button to activate her fastest. But the harsh truth is, in my 20 years in this field, I've never met a single woman who said they like being touched there immediately without preparation. Anatomically, that sensitive area contains thousands of nerve endings. When blood hasn't rushed there yet, when the body hasn't been naturally lubricated, you rubbing there is like rubbing sandpaper on tender skin. It causes a sticky, uncomfortable feeling, even painful. This action makes women feel you're handling them crudely, lacking finesse, like you're trying to fix a machine machine rather than making love to a human being. And immediately her defense mechanism will kick in. So what should you do? Use the misdirection tactic. The golden rule here is touch everywhere except where she expects. Start from the furthest areas: hands, arms, back of the neck, back, then gradually down to inner thighs. Draw a circle around that forbidden zone, but absolutely don't touch it. This action has an extremely powerful psychological effect. It makes her brain curious, makes her wait. She'll wonder, when will he touch there? That waiting builds up pent-up energy. And when you actually touch the destination after going on a tour, the explosive feeling will be 10 times stronger than if you attacked right from the start. That's how you turn a boring procedure into a thrilling adventure where you're in the driver's seat. You see, just by changing tactics a bit, you've shed the burden of pressure and made her crave you. But that's not all. In the next part, I'll help you solve an age-old debate. Do women like it gentle or rough? The answer will surprise you. Mistake number 3, unintentional roughness. The third mistake is unintentional roughness. Men, you're often much stronger than you think. During climax, when adrenaline is pumping hard through your blood, your strength can unintentionally turn into roughness. Too tight a grip, too powerful a movement, or an uncontrolled thrust, all these things you think are passion, but to her, it can be an assault. Why is this dangerous? Because it activates women's guarded mode. When her body feels an unexpected or too powerful force, the natural reflex is to contract to protect herself. She no longer feels safe, and when safety disappears, the door to pleasure closes too. This is why many guys think they're displaying masculinity, dominance, but receive coldness or an enduring expression from their partner. You want her to surrender to your strength, but in reality, you're making her freeze from fear. So how to be rough while she's still mesmerized? Apply the emotional contrast rule. Think about taking a hot bath. You won't feel the hot water as refreshing if you've never known cold. Similarly, roughness is only truly pleasurable when it's placed on a foundation of gentleness. I call this the sandwich method tactic. Bottom layer, soft. Start extremely gently, so gentle that she shivers. This gentleness helps unlock the nervous system and creates trust. Filling layer, strong. When her body has warmed up, breathing intensifies. That's when you increase speed and intensity. At this point, your strength is no longer crudeness. It's the release of energy you've built up before. Top layer, soft. End with hugging, caressing to bring her back to a safe state. Remember, you can't force roughness. You have to earn the right to be rough through initial patience. When you do this process correctly, your dominance will drive her wild. Mistake number 4, roughness with genitals. The fourth mistake is a technical mistake I see most commonly, using too much friction force on sensitive areas. Many men learn this from movies. You see actors rubbing very hard, very fast, and think, that's professional, that's how you climax quickly. But movies are not real life. The biological truth is that a woman's intimate area is extremely fragile. What you feel is a light touch with a man's calloused hand can feel like sandpaper to her sensitive mucous membrane area. If you start by rubbing hard, you'll numb her nerve endings. Instead of increasing pleasure, you're killing it. She might wince, push you away, or worse, grit her teeth and endure to get it over with. And that's when you find yourself failing despite working very hard. The solution here is use her body as a compass. Don't guess. Observe. If you touch and see her body tense up, that's a red light. Stop immediately. If she pulls back or closes her legs, that's a yellow light. Slow down, reduce force by half. If she moves toward you, pushes her hips up to receive, that's a green light. You're doing it right. Apply the contrast rule again. Start very gently, so gentle you think it's not enough. The initial gentleness will increase the sensitivity of nerve endings, so that later when you increase force a bit, the sensation she receives will be 10 times stronger than if you went hard from the start. That's not weakness. That's the strategy of a man who knows how to control the game. Now you know how to control speed and intensity. But there's still one last huge psychological barrier, a mistake where your very effort is destroying lovemaking. If you feel pressure every time you enter battle, the next part is the liberating medicine for you. We've gone through technique, through pace, but there's one last barrier, an invisible but most solid wall preventing you from enjoying lovemaking. That's your mind. We'll talk about mistake number 5, the mistake that can turn the bedroom from heaven into a place of mental torture, trying too hard to make her climax. Be honest with me. How many times have you entered lovemaking with one single goal in mind? I must make her climax. You see it as a measure of your manhood. If she achieves it, you feel like a hero. If she doesn't or hasn't achieved it, you feel like a failure, inadequate. You work hard, sweat pouring, eyes sneaking glances at the clock, calculating every method in your head. You turn yourself into a diligent worker trying to complete KPI targets. But do you know what actually happens when you bring that mentality? It creates a terrible pressure on both people. On your side, the brain shifts from pleasure mode to performance mode. You're no longer enjoying the warmth, skin, or her breathing. You're busy worrying. Why is it taking so long? Am I doing it right? What if I finish first? Sex at this point is no longer transcendence. It becomes a competency test you're afraid of failing. And worse, on her side, women are extremely sensitive to this pressure. When she feels you're trying to make her climax, she doesn't feel loved. She feels like she's being studied, being forced. She starts worrying back for you. He's working too hard. I'm taking too much time. Should I just fake it to get it over with? And so that moment dies. Both are tense, exhausted, and lonely in their own lovemaking. You feel like a dedicated servant who doesn't receive a tip. So what's the way out? It sounds paradoxical, but this is the most sincere advice I have for you. Stop trying to make it happen. That's right, you heard correctly. Let go of that goal. The biological truth is women climax most easily when they feel absolutely safe. And they're only safe when they don't feel any pressure from you. But I want to take you further than the usual scenario. I want you to change your position. Don't make love like a servant trying to please a difficult customer. Make love like a conductor. A conductor doesn't run around apologizing to the audience. He stands still, holds the baton, and controls the pace of the entire orchestra. When you apply the conductor mindset, you don't do it because she demands it. You do it because you're controlling the game. If she's lying still, starfish style, many guys complain their wife is passive. If you're the servant, you'll try to work twice as hard to compensate. But if you're the conductor, stop. Stop all movement. Hold the position. Look deep into her eyes or kiss gently on her neck, but don't move the lower part. That stillness is an extremely powerful psychological blow. It forces her to wonder, why did he stop? It creates a gap that she must fill with her own initiative. Tease, wait until her body can't take it anymore and has to arch up to seek you out. Turn passivity into craving. Don't serve a motionless body. Use your patience and control skills to wake her up. When she has to reach for you, that's when she craves you most. When you shed the burden of having to reach the finish line, you'll find yourself more relaxed, more confident. You're no longer afraid, you're enjoying. And the miraculous thing is, when you relax, she feels safe. When you control the game instead of serving, she feels attracted. And at the moment you least expect it, orgasm will come to her naturally, powerfully, more gendong and profound than any forced technique. That's not magic. That's understanding. You see, this journey doesn't start with skill. It starts with mindset. When you master these 5 things, you not only solve bedroom troubles, but you also regain your own confidence. Let me summarize everything in the final part. As a woman, I realized these 5 mistakes are not simply technical errors, but they reflect a huge biological communication gap between men and women that few dare to admit. In reality, men often approach sex with a problem-solving and goal-oriented mindset. We want to see results, want to see the destination, and want to conquer it quickly. This very mindset leads to rushing penetration or unintentional roughness. We're trying to operate women's complex bodies with the simple operating system of men. We think that stronger, faster is better, when in reality, women's bodies need safety and gradual warming up. However, what troubles me most is mistake number 5, trying too hard to make her climax. This is the most dangerous, submerged iceberg. It turns the bedroom from a place of transcendence into a stage full of pressure. Men burden themselves with the responsibility to be the hero, and when they can't, They torment themselves as failures. We've traveled together through a long journey to decode the mysteries behind the bedroom door. You now have in your hands the roadmap that men out there might not have. Knowledge is just empty theory if it sits still in your head. You can turn off this video and feel, I understand now. But if tonight you still step into bed with the old rush, with the old fear, and with the old pressure to perform, then the result will still be that terrifying silence. The disappointment will come again. She'll lie still again, and you'll feel lonely, powerless in your own lovemaking. You don't want to continue being the tired servant, always afraid of doing wrong, do you?